Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Thursday Xfinity Series here on Green, White, Checkered TV. We are at the infamous iRacing Superspeedway here in the virtual world on iRacing, ready to tackle 75 laps at the nearly 3-mile fictitious oval here. Lots of room for moving around, lots of lanes to race on, and we've seen some incredible finishes here throughout all of our Area 51 leagues here at this racetrack. Been a couple years now that we've started going here, a couple seasons for sure, and we've had a lot of fun calling races here, and a lot of nostalgia, as we've mentioned before. This obviously being a fictitious track, used to be something that was created by the company called Papyrus, which now obviously is kind of merged into or became iRacing, and they brought what used to be called Coca-Cola Superspeedway back to life and branded it as iRacing Superspeedway. So been around for, honestly, the track's been around in existence only again in the virtual world for about 20 years. But we are ready to tackle it tonight for the second round of the playoffs, and we are looking forward to get into this. We've got an update on the points after the first race last week, and you can see there, we'll get that actually centered for you here and show you obviously on the screen where they are at. Obviously, Dean Wilkinson with the incredible run that he had last week. He is top of the points, not by much, but he does have a 6-point lead over Eric Laurie and Rick Sanchez, as well as Patrick Groover and Bob Fitzgerald in the top 5 of those standings. And you see the names throughout there of the 12 competing for the championship here over the next 3 weeks, trying to earn the right to call themselves champions of the Area 51 League. So it'll be another good race, looking like decent field. We got a lot of our playoff field ready to go. Everyone is qualifying right now. We've got about a minute and a half before we get into the grid and then the race. So we are just letting those guys take their qualifying times, and we'll give you that starting grid as it gets there. But I've got Matt Wagner alongside me tonight. Matt, what are some of your biggest keys to racing here tonight at this 3-mile oval?
Track. It's one of my favorites. Not many people like it because it's not, they call it not a real track. Um, Pit stops, pit stops, pit stops. I praise this every week. You gotta be. Pit road is quite treachery here. It's actually not that bad because the code is so far inside the inside wall there, so you have to be very careful of that. And the final thing I have for you is track position. That's always the key. And actually, what I should make it another thing: fuel numbers. Gotta watch your fuel because last couple of times here we've been into been the fuel saving races, haven't we, there, Boomer?
Yeah, Yeah, we've definitely seen a mix of just about everything at this track at this point, and I know we haven't been going here for super long, but we've had quite a few races here that have been incredibly exciting. We've had some races that went green flag from start to finish here at this track, and then we've seen races that have had cautions within the first lap, and sometimes 5 or 6 cautions within the last 10 to 15 laps. So it definitely happens, and the excitement definitely comes here. Probably the biggest wild card on the schedule, especially in the playoffs here. But we have everybody taking to the grid right now and getting ready for the race. So we'll bring up that grid as cars or drivers make their way to their cars. So you'll see on screen there, Kevin Freese is going to grab the pole for tonight, starting in that first position for Team Bootnaka Esports. Teammate Dune Conrad is going to be to his outside of the number 8 Chevrolet. Bud Steele is going to grab the third starting spot for Roswell Motorsports in the inside of row number 2, and we have Rick Sanchez to the outside in that number 4 Chevrolet. Tom Dixon is going to start to the inside of row number 5, and you'll see Jack Walls there to his outside, completing row number 3. Last week's winner, Dean Wilkinson, in the 7th starting spot in the 55 Ford Mustang. He is going to be accompanied by Ambrose Kniebel of Blind Squirrel Racing to his outside. And we got Nick Wing and Jeremy Osborne. They are going to be on the 5th row to round out your top 10 of the starting grid. We got Andrew Schroeder back in action here at the Area 51 League. Good to see him back with Eric Laurie starting to his outside in that number 071. A few more names on the starting grid here. Patrick Groover and Seth Groover are going to start side by side. In the 7th row here, Gael Brooks will be in the field tonight. Not doing pit reporting, but just doing his part to help out the numbers in the league and probably try to help his dad out a little bit there. Jim Brooks, he'll be starting right beside him tonight. They'll be on row number 8. And then we got Bob Fitzgerald and Brandon Briggs, two of our playoff contenders, starting in the final row of your starting grid for tonight. And we roll off of the front stretch here. At 25, Kevin Freese. Behind the pace car, lights are out. Green flag next time by. The first of, again, 70 laps here tonight. Actually showing 75. Typically we'll do 70 on the schedule at iRacing Superspeedway, but it looks like we've got 75 for tonight.
I think might have been a little bit of an error there when
throwing a couple
guys
laps,
were setting it up.
extra laps in there to mess us up. But yeah, 75 laps will be the scheduled distance here. So same distance, at least in lap count, as we run typically at Daytona and Talladega. But obviously we've got the almost 3 mile oval here. Really it's just a big Martinsville. It's a paperclip with a ton of banking, which we'll try to highlight throughout the night. But yeah, which should be fun with Whiplash Sim Cams coming on board this season. So do the best that we can in the booth to highlight what should be a very exciting event here tonight.
Yeah, just drivers got to be a little bit careful on the start here. And man, it takes a long time for these guys to get down to the green flag. And there it is. There's the green flag, and we're underway here. Second round of the playoffs.
Barreling off into turn number 1. Kevin Freese with the help of Bud Steele in that top spot. Dude Conrad to his outside, 2x2. And you can get an appreciation for how wide this track truly is. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide is even feasible at this racetrack. But you'll see pretty much only using about 2 lanes for most of it until it gets a little crazy. Ooh, a little bit of a moment there for Rick Sanchez.
Oh boy.
Gets a little loose, but he holds on to it.
He's gonna fall back like a rock right now.
Looks like he is still within the pack at least, so shouldn't lose the draft, but that was definitely a bit of a wiggle that you kind of saw barely for a brief moment there, and he is going to hopefully stay in the pack. It looked like there might be a little bit of damage to the right side of that Chevrolet Camaro, but still holding strong as he continues to battle for the playoffs. You see the names in green highlighted are your playoff drivers, which we highlighted again on screen with the point standings. And we settled down a little bit after that moment there for the 5. Charles, he may have hit the wall a little bit. It was hard to tell, but obviously he made a little bit of contact there with someone and just kind of wiggled up the racetrack. So he may have made a contact with another car instead of the wall, but there is a little bit of damage to the right side of the 5, but still very early on and obviously still well within the draft. So no harm for him and should be able to repair that damage pretty easily, Matt. Settled out pretty single file at the moment. 25 to 6 to 83. Then it's Ambrose Kniebel and Nick Wing. Jim Brooks with the fastest lap of the race last time by a 44.29. And if you think about the speeds, that's 45 45 seconds to go 3 miles. And we'll bring up the dashboard here as you see Kevin Freese 242.43 miles an hour as he sends it off into turn 1. And that is a lot of speed to carry.
Speaking of our buddy Guy, he's actually dropped all the way back to help Rick Sanchez all the way back there. That really shows are really really good for Gael, and really proud of him. Yeah, I know Rick has a little bit bad luck in the truck series now in the Xfinity series. Now he'll hopefully he'll get up, back toward up the front.
Yeah, we'll have to pay attention to the lap times because the last lap they were both quite a bit slower, but I think that was because Gael was trying to head back to try and pick up the 5. So unfortunately, that damage may actually be more significant than we expected. The damage model for these Xfinity cars, especially since the update, has been kind of a tricky one. Sometimes you make minor contact with the wall, and you get a lot of damage, and sometimes you can hit the wall really hard and there's almost no damage at all. So a little bit puzzling, but obviously I know iRacing is always trying to work on and improve their service and their cars to make everything as realistic as possible. So hopefully that's not the case for the 5, but with the loss of pace we'll see here as Gael's going to swap position with him and try to push him back up to speed. So maybe the next time around we'll take a look at the numbers. But right now 44.71 for Kevin Freese and a 47.24 for Rick Sanchez that last by. We'll
Yeah.
see if that gets any better, but we are back up at the front now, and we have quite a bit more action side by side up at the front of this pack. 3 wide even as Brandon Briggs goes all the way to the top side.
Yeah, that third lane is not really going to work out, especially with no help. As me watching these races, here at iRacing Superspeedway, that third lane really, very so often comes into play. I just, Boomer, I gotta think that second lane is probably the best lane.
You saw there last time by the 6 and the 28 used that lane that you speak of, Matt, to get to the front of the pack, and now it's the 8 and the 071 trying to do the same. And that's Andrew Schroeder in the middle there, jumping to the bottom in the New York Yankees sponsored machine.
Oh my God, he had to do that, didn't he?
The third lane's actually forming a little bit better now with the 81 and the 54.
Yeah, Schroeder is a big Jets fan, so I don't know. Part of me feels bad for him, but what do I know? I'm a Browns fan, so so why should we be? Anyway.
Yeah, you see the 81 and the 54 still trying to make that third lane move, but the 6 and the 28 are kind of linked up in the bottom lane, and so are the 8 and the 071 and the 54 and the 81 together. It looks like Seth Gruber was not actually able to start this race, as we see him now actually just jumping to the pits and joining us. As we see after that contact with the wall, there's going to be pretty much single file here out on track, but definitely a bummer for Seth. Not entirely sure what happened there, but he has finally left pit lane and is joining the field. He will be 9 laps down as he rejoins.
Yeah, he'll be helping his brother up. That's pretty much unfortunate. It's probably a little bit of connection issue, but I've been there past like 3 weeks. It's not fun. Seth, I feel you. Speaking of that, they're about to come up on him.
All right, we said we'd give you an update, and it looks like the last time by, Bud Steele ran a 44.73 to Rick Sanchez 46.38. So there is definitely a little bit of damage there for the 5 that seems to be quite significant for him. The good news is that they are only 15 seconds back, which is only about a third of the track, but they are obviously still well on the lead lap. And then it looks like Seth Gruber, you see there, as Matt mentioned, is going to be swallowed up by this pack. But the good news is that Seth shouldn't go more than 10 laps down, that is, as he should be able to join the back of this pack and probably more than likely start to help that 54 in his brother Patrick. Andrew Schroeder's making some moves there. Now he's got the help of Kevin Freese in that second lane as they catch up to Seth Groover.
Yeah, I think he's just going to blend in with his, help his brother out.
You can see there he's able to join this pack here. Definitely much easier to run with the pack. Obviously you can see the speed difference between Bud Steele and where Rick Sanchez is. It's about 2 seconds a lap. So obviously the damage to the 5 of Rick Sanchez, unfortunately. He has the help of Guy Brooks back there, but they are definitely slowing down quite a bit. But they are about 18 seconds off the lead at the moment here.
Well, never say never there, Boomer. You know, anything can happen. A caution, yellow could come out, but never know.
Yeah, and I just noticed, it looks like timing scoring is actually updated, so Seth Groover is now shown 8 laps down. So only 8 laps for him, and who knows? Maybe we could have enough cautions for him to get back up there. Maybe it could go green the whole way. We've seen both here, Matt.
No, I don't think we will want to see that many cautions, but wishful thinking for Seth. But I would like to see this race go a little bit more green. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, we've definitely seen both. That's for sure here. It's always lends to an unexpected finish and an unexpected race here at iRacing Superspeedway.
The racing here at iRacing Superspeedway has actually been not that bad. Well, in the trucks, it's actually been fairly really good. The Xfinity side, not so much. Cars, drive, a little bit different than trucks, but obviously these are faster than the trucks. But it looks like Dean Wilkinson has taken the lead.
Dean with the help of Patrick Groover on the 81 of Brandon Briggs, who continues to work in that high lane. Dean now pushed all the way to the lead. Led a lot of laps last week and held off some hard chargers at the end to get his first victory, or the first victory of the playoffs. Has a 6-point lead, but as we talked to him after the race last week, he said it's going to take consistency and execution to continue to hold on to that lead. And I know those have kind of been the keys that we've talked about and the drivers have talked about in and out every season, every week, whenever we ask anything related to the playoffs or the point standings and what it takes to be a champion in this league. So Dean obviously with a pretty solid start. Leading laps always helps. There's no bonus points for it like there was in the past, but still being up at the front definitely makes a big difference to avoid some of the chaos towards the back, if there is any, and also just log laps and learn how to drive up front. So as we see, looks like Patrick Groover's continuing to get the push from the 81 of Brandon Briggs. They're trying to get all the way up to the front. Now that Seth is a few laps down, again, we expect him to work side by side with his brother there and help out. And it looks like we've actually got some pit strategy here. Rick Sanchez and Guy Brooks are going to come down pit road, as it looks like their window for their first pit stop has opened, and would very much expect the 5 to take a fast repair to get rid of that damage and get them back up to speed.
Yeah, I'm looking at Rick's car right now. It's the first time I had to look at it, and it doesn't look all that bad, but just being a little bit off. Okay, there goes that fast repair. He did take it. The damage didn't look all that bad, but just even on wrinkle of this car now, it'll be so slow.
Yeah, it's that damage model update has definitely been an intriguing one for this series. As you see, the rest of these cars starting to single out in the bottom lane, which usually means what, Matt?
Oh, here. Uh-oh. Here they come, pitting.
.55 on a pit road. Very, very fast pit entry, and we see a lot of tire smoke. A lot of cars in this time. Some lockups, lots of smoke, but everybody in and clean so far. That's 5th through 15th. And then Seth Groover in 18th. 11 cars on pit road. That's going to leave Jack Walls, Dude Conrad, Eric Laurie, and Jim Brooks out on the field. And obviously Rick Sanchez and Guile Brooks already making their pit stop here. So we'll see who comes off of pit road first. It looks like it's going to be the 32 of Seth Groover, and then Nick Wing, followed by Andrew Schroeder and Bud Steele. And it looks like we are going to have the 83, the 071, the 55, and the 8 in this time answering the call. So 3 laps, 3 pit stops in a row. And Nick Wing is going to come off of pit road here as your leader of this pack. We'll see where the Dude Conrad Jack Walls pack ends up and how they all blend back together. Looks like, trying to see some numbers here, Rick Sanchez and Guile Brooks are still by themselves. They are scored 1 lap down.
Oh,
their last
boy,
lap was significantly longer than expected.
we got some pit road penalties.
Ooh, looks like Eric Laurie and Jim Brooks speeding on pit road, or speeding at pit road entry there. That's going to be a 40-second stop and hold for both of those competitors, and that is not going to bode well for their championship hopes.
Yep, as I talked about earlier, guys, it's definitely pit stops execution. You got to do it right. You cannot speed on pit road, and now they're going to be mired all the way in the back.
So we'll see here. Jack Walls is merging off of pit road, and we'll try and see if he can keep up with this pack. It may be difficult, but he's trying the best he can. Should be able to fall back to Dude Conrad, but Patrick Groover has taken the lead, and Kevin Freese is helping him out as his brother's in the mix there. A couple cars back again, still 8 laps down. And we got Andrew Schroeder in the 3rd position, Bud Steele, then Nick Wing. And it looks like Jack Walls is going to have enough momentum to hang on to this pack here. He is within a second, and he is catching, it seems. Now that gap is actually growing just a little bit off the corner, so we'll see if that maintains. Dude Conrad is about 1.4 seconds off the tail of Jack Walls, and that number is unfortunately growing. So we'll see. And it looks like Jack Walls is losing time to Nick Wing as well, so I think Jack Walls is losing this draft here that you see ahead of him. But hopefully the 88 and the 83 can link up, because there's another group that is fairly well organized behind them. Brandon Briggs, Tom Dixon, and Dean Wilkinson here in this pack from 8th to 10th. Throw in Jeremy Osborne as well as Ambrose.
Oh, we got a caution.
Caution is out on the speedway, trying to determine. Oh, it's the 25 of Kevin Freese.
Oh!
And it looks like the 32 of Seth Groover.
Wow. I have no idea what happened.
We're trying to take this back to the moment of caution and try to understand what brought the first yellow flag out. And we'll see here, oh, Kevin Freese gets loose in the middle of turns 1 and 2, and Seth with absolutely nowhere to go. And then you see the 48 also involved. We'll rewind that back just a little bit here and try to see with a bit of a more zoomed in view. So you saw the 25 getting loose here. And the big contact. This is at 1/4 speed, so you can see how fast this is actually unfolding here. And it looks like those are the only ones that will be involved in this incident. But that's going to be a fast repair for all 3 of those guys for sure. See if we can go back one more time and view it here. And you see the 25. Again, this is our slow-mo to show you how fast this actually happens on track and how much speed there actually is in this track. Wow, the 6 narrowly avoiding contact there. Gets a little loose after the fact, but saves it pretty well. And then you saw, obviously, Kevin Freese and the 48, big damage for them, and the 32. So we will jump back live and see. Looks like we've got some pit stops.
And that is going to be a big break for Eric Laurie and Jim Brooks because they were almost about to go a lap down. Unfortunately, during that pit stop cycle, they didn't go a lap down, which is kind of, they got really lucky. And Guy Brooks and Rick Sanchez are going to be back toward the front now.
Yeah, so they were able to stay on the lead lap even though they'd lost a little bit of time. And you'll see pit road here. Jack Walls looks like he's going to come off first, but everybody in pit road. A couple drivers repairing. It looks like, I'm assuming based on that damage, Kevin Freese and Seth Groover absolutely blew a motor, so they had to take a tow back to pit road. It does look like Andrew Schroeder was able to drive it back, I believe. Yes, he was, and he's rolling now. Okay, so just Kevin Freese and Seth Groover are waiting to get their tow back to the pits, so we'll see. Hopefully they can stay on the lead lap, get their fast repairs. But yeah, looks like Patrick Groover is actually taking some time to potentially repair some damage as well, but everybody else off of pit road with a fresh, I was going to say fresh set of sticker tires, except for Jack Walls and Rick Sanchez. So that track position that you mentioned earlier, Matt, Rick and Jack here have opted for that tanks of fuel. As we see for a second there, a little bit of a hiccup on iRacing. We're back now. Couple drop frames on my end, so apologies for that. But you see a couple more cars coming back down pit road here. All right, we got a few drop frames, but it looks like we are back to full speed on the broadcast at least, so apologies for that. But second round of pit stops here. Bud Steele, Ambrose Knievel are going to come in as well, or are going to stay out, as well as Jeremy Osborne, and then pretty much everybody else going to grab some extra fuel. And while we wait under this pace lap, we are going to hear from our sponsor, Sensi.
At Sensi, we love fragrance, how it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Sensi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Sensi products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Sensi Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Sensi business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most.
Back live.
We are back under green. Sorry to interrupt the commercial break there, but we go back to green flag. Bud Steele, you saw, we mentioned Bud Steele and Ambrose Knievel stayed out. Jeremy Osborne also stayed out. Everybody else coming back in to grab a little bit extra fuel. And Matt and I were just discussing under the commercial break, it looks like this may turn into a fuel mileage race here as we are getting close to some fuel numbers. So Kevin Freese ended up taking a lot of damage repair. Looks like, actually no, excuse me, he's still, yeah, so he looks, sorry, took him a while to get back to the pits. But once he did, it looks like he took his fast repair. It actually looks like Seth Groover is still stuck on pit lane here. So unfortunately for him, he may have actually retired, I believe. for the night. So that
Yes, I can confirm that.
Yeah, okay, thank you, perfect. So Kevin Freese went 2 laps down, unfortunately, having to take the tow back to pit road, but is back out on track. And 2 wide action on lap 25 here. We are 1/3 of the way through this one, and we had a pretty solid green flag pit cycle. And then obviously we saw Kevin Freese. It seemed fairly uncharacteristic for a seasoned veteran like Kevin, but the car just kind of got loose around on him, and unfortunately the 32 involved and the 48, but it looks like the 48 machine is still rolling here. Obviously Kevin 2 laps down, having to wait for the tow to get back to pit road, but no harm, no foul, as we still have 17 cars in contention here, and the 25 of Kevin Freese may be trying to get a lap back the hard way if he can pass leader Bud Steele there.
Wow. It's, like I said, that's uncharacteristic of Kevin to do that. I've never seen him, spin on his own. That's usually that would happen in the fixed iRacing setup, but I had to confirm that with some of our admins of the league. And yes, this is not the fixed setup. This is our custom setup that these drivers do for us, and they are greatly appreciated. But it's things like this happen. It's uncharacteristic, as you would say, but I'm sure Kevin will probably do his dangest to try and get his lap back, though. Right now, I'm watching all of these drivers just go pace and go single file, because this race turned into a fuel save race. I have like 2 drivers on the outside. That's just about it.
5's gonna peak, but stay in the inside lane there. The 6 and the 25 at the front of this pack. The 81 is still working in that outside lane. He's got the 48 this time of Andrew Schroeder helping him out.
Yeah. If I know Andrew, he wants to try and lead like every single lap. He don't care about fuel. So just go for it. What do you got to lose?
Got some fans chiming in the chat. Always appreciate the activity. Have Dean Wilkinson jumping in before the broadcast, and Connie Osborne cheering on the number 41 tonight, currently in the 8th position, running for Blind Squirrel Racing. And in the playoff hunt with some of his other Blind Squirrel Racing teammates.
Well, Boomer, here you are again. Another fuel save race. Well, actually, you can blame Kevin for that. Yeah, that's all Kevin's fault. So, well, some of these drivers may get a little bit frisky and go to that second lane. It looks like Eric Laurie has wandered up there. He wants to get up there toward the front. He doesn't want to be mired all the way back there, but I see Gael Brooks back with his dad, is doing Gael things and just chilling.
Yeah, I will say, you mentioned a few people that helped, but obviously Jim Brooks in that group as well, with the pit road speeding penalty that he had. That was negated with the caution, able to stay on the lead lap and catch back up. And there you see the father-son or son-father duo as they run on track right now, but the 71 and the 51 sporting the Area 51 and green-white checkered TV colors for us here tonight. Yeah, Bob Fitzgerald just kind of hanging out towards the back here. It's the last one in this pack. It looks like Patrick Groover is a little underpowered here by himself. I'm not sure if he just lost the draft or if it's just a power issue, but he's already 20 seconds, 22 seconds off the lead, 23 almost, within a couple laps of the restart here. So thinking that has to do more with some damage maybe than actual loss of the draft, but not entirely sure what happened there. But we'll keep an eye on that for sure, as he's bleeding he's bleeding over 2 to 3 seconds a lap to our leaders, just being by himself. Last time by a 44.50 to Bud Steele, and then over 47 seconds a lap for Patrick Groover. Bob Fitzgerald actually ran a 43.83 in the back of the pack here, which is the fastest lap of the race so far. And Bud Steele staying out after the first set of pit stops under yellow flag. Keeping that track position so far seems to be key for him, as he has led every lap since going back to green. But Brandon Briggs on the outside in that 81 and Andrew Schroeder are going to try and take that away.
I see what happened to Patrick. He missed the start of the restart, so he got mired all the way back and just pretty much lost the draft, never got caught back up, and now he's just sitting there running by himself. That's pretty unfortunate for Patrick, but if he does go a lap down, he'd be the only one to be one lap down, and that would kind of stall Freeze of getting one of his 2 laps back. So
yeah, definitely.
It's not Patrick. His race is not over yet. As we saw earlier, a car spun by itself. You never know what could happen. He could probably get back on the lead lap and possibly win this race. We actually seen that happen before.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a lot. I know we've seen a lot of cars come back. A little bit of a comeback there. Obviously, I mean, Rick Sanchez picking up where he left off at the beginning of this race before the contact that he had. He's got a fresh and clean race car with that fast repair and is already mixing it back up with our leaders here. So the 48 and the 81 still trying to make that outside lane work, but it's the 6 of Bud Steele for position, then the 25 of Kevin Freese, who is 2 laps down at the moment, then the 5 of Rick Sanchez, then you've got Jack Walls, Brandon Briggs, and a slew of other cars all the way back to 15th in this pack. Again, Kevin, the only car that is a lap down, though we will likely catch Patrick over here in the next couple laps, probably in about 5 laps or so, though pit stops will actually probably be coming almost sooner than that, as we saw, I think it was 17, 18, and 19 laps for the first, our lap count for the first set of green flag pit stops. So definitely that window starting to open up here as everyone last pit on lap 22 under caution. So expecting before lap 40 to see a few takers again.
Well, speaking about fuel saving, some of these guys are not really fuel saving, because I'm watching how fast these guys are going. Kevin is not laying back one bit. He is stuck and glued to the back bumper of the 6. Rick, on the other hand, I think he's maybe just doing a little bit more fuel saving here, more than Kevin is. I have no idea because I'm not behind the wheel pressing the throttle. But I'm looking the guys further toward the back, like Guile Brooks, Jim Brooks, Tom Dixon, Bob Fitzgerald, Dean Wilkinson, Ambrose Nebo. Those guys down back there could possibly be fuel saving a little bit more extreme than like a Rick Sanchez or a Bud Steele. It's so tough to tell.
Yeah, you do see the speeds there for Jim Brooks on the screen, 237, 238 as they top out down the backstretch. And we'll try to compare that to what Bud Steele is running here, 235, obviously now in the middle of the corner. We'll see what the speed difference is, but not necessarily the speed, because obviously this pack's kind of all going average speed about the same of all these guys. The biggest thing is the fact that Bud Steele obviously is out in front and is going full throttle, whereas everyone else does not have to go full throttle because of the draft and that hole that Bud Steele pushes through that stagnant air when his number 6 Ford Mustang rips through the air at 230, almost 240 miles an hour. So makes a big difference, and you know that a lot of those guys towards the back of that pack are trying to do everything that they can to save a little bit of fuel, but the guys at the front definitely not saving at all.
Oh, no, of course they're not. But I'm watching to the outside lane right now there, Boomer. As soon as I talk about Dean Wilkinson, he just jumped to the very top by himself. He's sitting there trying to take the lead, I guess, by himself? Question mark?
He's making it work so far.
Yeah.
He had a run and he's kind of took it to the outside, and I think he's gained a spot or two, but obviously as you see in the corner there, inside lane prevails. He's going to need some help if he wants to go any further forward. But the number 55 Cheerwine Ford Mustang having a decent showing so far as the 25 of Kevin Freese steps around the 6 of the 6 of Bud Steele, and that's actually going to put Rick Sanchez to the lead. So Kevin Freese is 1 lap down. Go ahead, Matt.
I think we got some cars pitting. Yep. As we expected, Bud Steele is pitting. He was that lead group car. I think I can't see who else is pitting in the back. Is that Ambrose Nebel?
Yep, Linesboro Racing
guys.
teammates.
Yep.
Jeremy Osborne as well. And then Patrick Groover is in this time by. So Patrick Groover got caught by the pack just as this set of pit stops were happening. So obviously him and Bud Steele were probably the only 2 in the field that were actually going full throttle all the way around the track, and it makes sense. And thankfully for Patrick, he should be able to come out with this group. But that leaves the 5 of Rick Sanchez again, who inherited the lead over the 25 of Kevin Freese, who's trying to earn a lap back the hard way. And you got Jack Walls, Nick Wing, and it looks like the 5 and the 25 are going to peel off this time by with the 81 and the 48 as well. Lots of tire smoke.
Oh, 81 is coming in hot. He's going to need some new 4 tires in that one. Oh, my goodness.
Lots of tire smoke we've seen on pit entry here tonight. So jumping back out of turn 2, it's the 83 of Jack Walls who will inherit the lead with Nick Wing, Dude Conrad, Eric Laurie, and Dean Wilkinson in tow. Tom Dixon, Guy Brooks, Jim Brooks, Bob Fitzgerald yet to pit on this cycle. Everybody else has already pit. And we'll see this time by if anybody else answers the call. And
looks like Patrick Gruber's. Yeah, Patrick's got to come in. I think it's a drive-through penalty. I think he came up the track a little bit. Come on exit. Oh no, Eric Laurie got busted for speeding.
I was gonna say I was curious. I saw him lock it up enough to almost hit the pit wall.
Oh man, that's the second time he's got nailed this race. Boomer, I keep talking about it, buddy. That's strike 2, my man. That's really gonna hurt him.
Yeah, it will. We'll see who comes off here first. Looks like it's actually going to be Nick Wing. Luckily for Patrick, he's ahead of this group here. I think that's going to actually help him because he should fall back to them and should be able to stay, I think, 1 lap down behind our leaders. So Nick Wing is actually your leader right now. And we'll see if we can find Rick Sanchez and Brandon Briggs were the who pit on the previous lap. So Rick Sanchez, Brandon Briggs, and then further back is Bud Steele and Ambrose Kniebel together. And it looks like there's actually a decent amount of a lead for Nick Wing as he gets help from Dude Conrad and actually Guy Brooks, who made a lot of progress, as well as his dad, Jim Brooks, under that pit cycle. And you see the 5 and the 25 of trying to slice their way through the field.
It's not going to take them long.
No, they have a bunch of energy there as everyone else gets back up to speed. And they are going to split our leaders. It'll be 3 wide at the line.
Yeah.
Rick Sanchez will lead lap number 42.
My goodness. They're gone. Now you see how much... Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely will expect them to be reeled in here by this larger pack, but it looks like through 7th place should settle into the lead pack here all the way back to Jack Walls. It's about 3 seconds back to Dean Wilkinson, Tom Dixon, Bud Steele, and Bob Fitzgerald, all the way through 11th place. And then another about 1 second back for Ambrose Kniebel and Andrew Schroeder, but it looks like they've got enough of a push for this whole pack to be together, which would then be Dean Wilkinson through Andrew Schroeder, so 8th through 13th that you see there. Jeremy Osborne a little bit slower off of pit road there. He does not have any dancing partners at the moment. We saw Eric Laurie with the penalty, spent 49 seconds in his pit box. He does have a drafting partner, though, in Patrick Groover, who is 1 lap ahead of him. And then, obviously, Kevin Freese, who is still ahead of our leader, who has scored 1 lap down. But so, again, is, at the moment, Patrick Groover, who would be 2 laps down once our leader, Rick Sanchez, catches him. And then the 071 of Eric Laurie will be 1 lap down, and it'll be a lucky dog battle between the 071 and the 25, who is still trying to... actually, no, I take it back. The 071 is one lap ahead of both of them, so when the leader passes the 071, he will be the lucky dog. And then the 25 will be the tail end of one lap down. And then Patrick Groover will also join him. So Patrick Groover and Kevin Freese right now are battling for position on the racetrack. And again, a little confusing with Kevin Freese being ahead of the lead pack, which puts him only one lap down. If he were behind the 5, he would be 2 laps down. We are past the halfway point here, and we are 5 laps away from our ticker counting up to counting down. Then 25 laps to go, we'll start counting down the final third of the race tonight and prepare for what should be an exciting finish.
Oh boy. Coming up on 2 lap cars here. Might be a little bit of saving grace for maybe Rick Sanchez there, because those guys right behind him have all pitted 1 lap earlier. Actually later. Excuse me.
Should bode well for the 5 also that he's got Kevin Freese helping him out a little bit. So again, as they catch these 2 lap cars, the 25 and the 54 will be battling for position. And the 071, who is the tail end of the lead lap at the moment, will be trying to keep himself on that lead lap. And we see Bob Fitzgerald actually came back down pit road again on lap 43, as well as Tom Dixon. So that's why you see the 08 now scored in the 17th position 2 laps down. And Tom Dixon came in again as well on the same lap, and will be actually the first car 1 lap down. So there's 3 lap cars ahead of our leader. Again, the 54 is trying not to go 2 laps down. The 25 trying not to go 2 laps down. The 071 trying not to go 1 lap down. But Rick Sanchez, 4th in line, is your leader, followed by Dude Conrad, Guile Brooks, Nick Wing, and Jim Brooks. Highest climber so far is Guile Brooks, up 12 positions in the podium placings at the moment. Jim Brooks up 11 from his starting position of 16th, and Brandon Briggs all the way from last to 7th at the moment. And unfortunately, Seth Groover chiming in from the broadcast chat, which means he is out of the car for the night, and he is saying that a caution would be nice. Just about to the 2/3 mark in this one. Working on lap number 48 at the moment. After the last green flag pit cycle, Rick Sanchez has taken over the lead and held it very comfortably. No one in this group in the lead pack really challenging, except for Brandon Briggs, trying to make something happen again. Still in that outside lane, but no takers. And he'll ride around in the 7th position. Dean Wilkinson still holding back about 7 seconds off of our leaders with Bud Steele, Andrew Schroeder, and Ambrose Kniebel here. Jeremy Osborne still unable to find a dancing partner even further on back. And then obviously we've got some of the lap cars of Eric Laurie, Patrick Hoover, and now we've caught the 411 of Tom Dixon, who has now scored 2 laps down behind our leader, Rick Sanchez. Just about everybody pitting lap 38, 39, or 40. And we've seen at least 18 laps, meaning everyone should be able to go to at least lap 58 or so, which means that everybody should be able to make it the rest of the way on 1 pit stop.
For some drivers.
I think most.
I'm really thinking, guys like, like Gaia Brooks and Jim Brooks and all them company, I may be a little bit safe. I worry drivers like Rick Sanchez up there, up toward the front. He's not further back in the draft, saving a little bit more fuel because he has one lap difference between those guys. So that it's really tough to call there, Boomer. I'm just like I said the last time we did this race. What was it down to? Like a one lap? I think it was one lap here.
Yeah, I believe so as well. Yeah, so it'll be tight, but I think everybody can make it as long as they're saving a little bit. From even Ambrose Kniebel and Bud Steele, who put on lap 38 there, they're going to have to go 37 laps to the end, which is an average of 18.5 laps, which is right on the fuel numbers, but I think almost everybody, unless they're being careless with their fuel, should be in a position to make it on one more stop. But we are within 25 laps to go. Rick Sanchez continues to lead this race. The 54, 071, the 25 battling to keep themselves 1 or 2 laps down. Sorry, 0 or 1 lap down. Tom Dixon and Bob Fitzgerald in this group are both 2 laps down. And we've got a couple other packs throughout the field. The only ones that I think might have some difficulty could be, honestly, looking at it, just Jeremy Osborne potentially. He's the only one who can pit on lap 38 who's not behind somebody saving fuel.
Oh yeah, he's
so I think he's
way out there.
The only one that may have some difficulties making it the rest of the way. Everybody else, so Patrick Goover, he pit on lap 37, but obviously for him, unfortunately, where he's at, and with the laps winding down, doesn't matter for him as much. Everybody else behind him able to save a little bit more fuel. Yeah, I see Bud Steele on lap 38. He is in the middle of a pack. He's pushing Dean Wilkinson. Ambrose Kniebel and Ambrose Kniebel is in that same pack as well. So, yeah, we'll see as the 41 is going to be picked up by this lead pack, hopefully. And
we
as
have
you know,
some
he's going
cars
to come in.
spinning.
Yeah, the 41 is going to come in this time by.
And so it was the 48.
Bud Steele, the 6, the 48, the 55, and the 04. So much tire smoke getting down to pit.
Oh, guys, be careful. Yeah. A lot of people got busted for speeding here tonight.
So the guys that are pitting here are probably not going to be able to make it the distance. Bud Steele, Dean Wilkinson, Andrew Schroeder, Ambrose Kniebel. They will almost guaranteed have to pit one more time here.
Yeah.
Rick Sanchez continues to lead. 21 laps to go. If anybody can stretch it 2 or more laps.
Rick's going to go to another lap. That is really good. Rick, yeah.
They can stretch it 2 or more laps, that will go the distance, but it doesn't look like the fuel numbers are adding up for that to happen. Everyone that pit there on lap 54 will nearly guaranteed have to come down one more time. And that honestly is so deflating when you get into a fuel mileage race and you just have 2 to 3 laps short.
Yeah, it's
tough.
Ugh. It is. It's you're like, oh god, where's the caution? Come on, guys.
Rick Sanchez is not going to have enough.
Yeah,
he's going to come in with the 25 and the 81.
Yep. The worst thing you can do is speed and be short on fuel. That's when I hit the all F4 button if I did that.
19 laps to go. It'll be 18 by the time they cross the stripe. And if these guys pit this time, these drivers here may have an opportunity to make it to the end, and two of them that are in this group, no surprises, are the father-son duo of the Brooks. As they're going to go one more lap.
One more lap. Are you
and
kidding
save
me?
even more fuel as the 071 and the 8 duck onto pit road.
Wow.
These guys are... I mean,
Better
Gael and
fuel
his dad
savers than
are...
me.
Yeah, they are king. Gael's strategy in every series he's ever run has been stay out long, run it long, save fuel. And, man, he's got an opportunity here.
I know you got the stats in front of you, but how many laps did Gaia run here? Him going on pit road.
He would have led, or he would have run at least 18 laps.
18 laps.
Now he's run
19?
19 or 20. Yeah.
Wow. Oh.
Get down to speed road.
I think he got nailed. Am I right?
I'm not sure. I can't tell from
Yes, he did.
Gael Brooks nailed for speeding.
And his father got nailed for speeding.
So the 51 and the 71 had an opportunity to go to the end, but they both got nailed for speeding. Jack Walls and Nick Wing.
Oh, my God.
17 laps to go. Jack Walls currently your leader there on pit road. Dude Conrad and the 071 of Eric Laurie trying to get out ahead of everybody else. They've got about a 4-second advantage over Brandon Briggs, Rick Sanchez, and a couple lap cars in this pack.
All right, Gael, I'm going to talk to you after this race.
Oh, man. Definitely hate to see that for those guys. So Nick Wing and Jack Walls come off of pit road here. They're only about 13 seconds in closing. Is the 8 of Dude Conrad with the teammate in Eric Laurie. Eric Laurie is in 12th position again, one lap down. We'll see how this sorts out. Dude Conrad definitely has about 18 laps to go to the end here, and I think that's very feasible for him. He may have to save a little bit, which may be tough if he is the lead car being pushed by his teammate. But Nick Wing and Jack Walls for sure here have enough, almost guaranteed, to make it the distance. So Dude Conrad's going to take over the lead here. Nick Wing and Jack Walls paired up together with the 411 of Tom Dixon. Further on back, Brandon Briggs pushes the lap car of Kevin Freese with Rick Sanchez behind, and then the lap car of Patrick Groover behind. Another 4.7 seconds off the tail of that pack is Bud Steele, Dean Wilkinson, Ambrose Kniebel, and another lap car, which should be the 41 of Jeremy Osborne there. And it looks like Tom Dixon and Bob Fitzgerald are in this time to get their final pit stop underway. And then Andrew Schroeder, with no drafting help, is 23 seconds off the leaders. And we see Gael Brooks and Jim Brooks together. And they are getting caught by our leaders. 15 laps to go.
Meanwhile, then I think Kevin just ran his fastest lap of the race. If I'm not sure if my telemetry could be off, but my goodness, now the question is, can the 5 make it? That's the question out of all these guys up front, and Brandon Briggs, him too.
Yeah,
can they make it?
Yeah, so Dude Conrad pit on 57, which is 18 to go, or 18 laps there. Brandon Briggs 56, which is going to be 19. Same with Rick Sanchez. That's going to be really tight. Nick Wing 58 and Jack Walls 58. So that is only 17, and that is, I think, fairly confident. Bud Steele, Dean Wilkinson, Ambrose Kniebel, and Andrew Schroeder, though, pit on that 54. I don't think they're going to make it at all unless they really start slowing down, which they're not. Actually, yeah, no, they're not really slowing down at all.
No, they're not.
Yeah. It's going to be a weird fuel mileage battle. Kevin Freese actually just ran the fastest lap of the race that last time by as he was catching this pack. It's really interesting to me with Dude Conrad. He's going to need to go 18 laps, which I think is fairly feasible, but I would have expected to see him to
Drop
duck
back.
in behind a teammate. I mean, he does have 2 teammates behind him for protection, but he's going to have to run this at a pace that we've seen has been somewhat difficult. I mean, we've seen leaders go 18 laps.
But look who's in front of Dude Conrad there, Boomer. The Brooks. So he could either tuck behind in Gaio and Jim there and just stay there. I think that's what they're doing now. Nope. I thought that would
how it sorts out. Now they're going to go to the inside. Kevin Freese is going to get shuffled out, and Brandon Briggs is going to go on through, as the 51 and the 71 should be able to hold on to this pack here. Now you see even speed between them and the leader. Brandon Briggs is your first car in the playoffs right now. He's in second place. Rick Sanchez, Nick Wing looking for some solid points nights as well. And then Jack Walls looking for a little bit of redemption from last week as well, trying to get a good finish for himself. Dude Conrad just trying to race for the glory of a checkered flag. And he is in a good spot right now as long as he can keep his fuel in check. It will be 10 laps to go at the start.
Yeah. Now I'm really kind of wondering who's going to make it. It could be one of those. Oh God, man, oh man. Who do I got winning? I'm going to go with Jack Walls. He's hungry.
Yeah,
He's been really hungry. He's hungry to win one. I know he's sitting there back there fifth spot, but I know he's hungry to win one. Yeah. He hasn't won one in quite a little bit, so I really think it's just
definitely have the best fuel position. They are quite a bit further back. Obviously, they've got 4 or 5 lap cars in between there in the middle. Brandon Briggs now has the help in the outside lane of Patrick Groover trying to advance his position.
He's not going to save fuel. I'm really surprised in that, but I know Rick is trying to probably, as far as the championship goes, I know you want to win races, but finishing position is all about winning a championship here. So you got to think about points.
Points will be really tight at the front of this pack. You see Dean Wilkinson still in the 7th position. Obviously came in tonight 6 points ahead. So 7th is not too terrible, especially with only 3 playoff drivers ahead of him. Should be very close to the lead and a pretty even scoreboard once we get to next week. If nothing major changes, as the 8 and the 071 have to pit.
Oh boy.
So does Rick Sanchez.
Oh my God.
So we'll see. I think the only ones that may have the ability to go the distance could be Nick Wing and Jack Walls, if at all. Brandon Briggs is dropping back. And he's going to need to save more fuel because he pit before Dude Conrad and Rick Sanchez did the previous time.
Well, I am got some bad news for you, Boomer. Dude Conrad just got nabbed for speeding. And so did Eric Laurie. He got nabbed for speeding as well on pit road.
The 54 and the 81 this time.
That is the third time Eric Laurie got busted for speeding.
Oh, I think the 54 and the 81 may have also been close there too. So
54 got nailed for speeding too.
So in this pack here, we've picked up the 48 of Andrew Schroeder, the 51 of Jim Brooks, again a lap car, the 28 and the 83 pit last on lap 58, which means they'd have to go 17 laps to go the distance. They are not leading, and I don't believe have led at all in this pack since they made their last pit stop, saving as much fuel as they possibly can. If this goes the distance and they can make it on fuel, they have an incredible opportunity here. Bud Steele is in third place. He's got the help of Dean Wilkinson and Ambrose Kniebel, and this group pit last on lap 54. They will absolutely have to come in and get fuel if everybody else was in the 18 and 19 lap window and they still had to come in. These guys in the 21 lap window to the end from their previous stop will have to come at some point. Now Brandon Briggs obviously has come in preemptively, and you see the 5 of Rick Sanchez and the 25 of Kevin Freese go around. So that puts Rick up to 6th position, potentially better when some cars ahead of him have to pit. It looks like Andrew Schroeder's going to come down pit road. Oh, he's actually going to get into an accident and hit the inside wall. Not enough to trigger a yellow. As more cars come down pit road, it's the 6 and the 55, and wow, that was close to get down to speed, but I think they did it. Jeremy Osborne, again, Andrew Schroeder in this time by. So Nick Wing continues to follow the 51 of Jim Brooks. Jim Brooks and Gael Brooks came in on lap 58, had the pit road speeding penalties, and they find themselves in 7th and 8th position, which will be the first two cars one lap down. Obviously, Jim, the last car, tail end of the lead lap. They are catching Rick Sanchez and the 25 of Kevin Freese. And all of these battles are still incredibly important for all the names that you see highlighted in green. Nick Wing continues to lead this race, the 4th car in this pack, and potentially has an opportunity to go the distance on fuel. So does Jack Walls behind him. Of everybody who has had to pit again, they have the best shot. They pit the latest of anybody else, had to only go 17 laps, and have not had to be full throttle at the front of a pack. They are 1st and 2nd. You have to go all the way back now to Rick Sanchez to find 3rd place after the rest of the pit stop cycle has cycled out. Then you have Jim Brooks and Gael Brooks, though even though they had a penalty, may have an opportunity to get to the end themselves. So they are 1 lap down. Brandon Briggs is also in this pack, or catching this pack, as he is within 0.8 seconds of Gael, and he is catching them. You've got to go another 8 seconds back to find Bud Steele and Dean Wilkinson. Then you find Ambrose Kniebel on pit road making his final stop. Then you go back to 10th, and you find Dude Conrad and Eric Laurie, as these guys both had pit road speeding penalties on their final pit stop. We are at 2 laps to go.
2 to go.
The question is, do Nick Wing and Jack Walls have enough? If they can make it, they are going to put all the way through 5th place, 1 lap down, with 4th and 5th directly in front of them. So effectively, they are the only 2 cars on the lead lap.
My pick to win has got a chance, Boomer.
The white flag will come out this time by. Do they have enough? Did they pit late enough? Did they save enough? Did they get enough fuel in the car under the pit stop? White flag for
move?
Nick Wing. Does Jack Walls try to make a move, as Matt says?
Oh, is he going to make the move? I'm sitting here waiting.
Coming down the backstretch. No evidence of any sputtering. Still under full power for the 28 and the 83. They have an opportunity to take command of what turned into an incredible fuel mileage race. Off of 4. No contention. Single file.
Wow.
It's going to be the 28 of Nick Wing with Jack Walls behind him, lapping the entire field on fuel strategy.
Well, not really the entire field, but
effectively.
Well, yeah,
because they were right in front of them, Matt.
That's crazy.
Incredible.
But The good thing is, all important point position. If I think they think they're still racing for position here for third place. Jim Brooks and Rick
Yep.
Sanchez
Coming back to
for
the line.
For the last part of the podium, and it's probably going to be Rick Sanchez will finish in third.
Wow. One lap later, because they were still on the tail end of the lead lap. Gael Brooks actually coming down pit road because he was behind the leader, and these three guys still had to race it all the way back. It's the 5 and the 51, third and fourth respectively, and now everybody has crossed the start-finish line. Nick Wing sitting patiently on the front stretch here. Yes, he will head out and we will review those race results before we get into those driver interviews. And you saw Nick Wing and Jack Walls effectively lapping the entire field. Obviously, Rick Sanchez and Jim Brooks finished just ahead of them, but they were the only two that were able to save enough fuel. Rick Sanchez had an incredible opportunity. Obviously, still had to pit, but still had quite a bit of track position gained over the rest of the guys that had to pit late. Jim Brooks and Gael Brooks, even though they had a pit road speeding penalty, because they were able to save enough fuel, and pit on lap 58 with Nick Wing and Jack Walls, they were able to, again, stay towards the front of that one lap down crew. And unfortunately, what could have been for those guys to be on the lead lap, but still a great points night for Jim Brooks as he continues to compete in the championship. Dean Wilkinson, last week's winner, he's going to come home 6th, which still keeps him in a really good spot in the playoff standings. Almost virtually guaranteed still within the top 3, and it will be pretty tight at the top of that leaderboard, and we'll try to bring that in before the end of the night here. Then you have Bud Steele, the last car, who will be one lap down. Pretty solid night for him as well. We saw Brandon Briggs trying to make that second lane happen quite a bit. Dude Conrad with a late speeding penalty, unfortunately, putting him in the 2-lap down crew, as well as Ambrose Knievel, who will be there in the top 10. Tom Dixon, we saw Jeremy Osborne. I mean, at this point, it might be easier to actually say who did not have a pit road speeding penalty towards the end, but obviously Kevin Freese caught up in a couple incidents, putting him further on back. Eric Laurie there, we saw him, he goes 3 laps down, as well as Bob Fitzgerald. Andrew Schroeder also caught up in some incidents himself, and then Patrick Groover and Seth Groover, unfortunately not the night that they were hoping for, but that is the field of your 18 cars. And we will get ready to do some interviews here, Matt.
My goodness. Fuel saving races is not my forte there, Boomer.
Well, it seemed to work out for a few.
Well,
including
how about this man? How about this man? He had a really rough start, to the beginning of the race, and he came back to a solid P3 finish. What do you think we bring him in here?
Yeah, why don't we? All right, we've got Rick Sanchez here in the booth with us. Obviously, Gael's already helped us out in the in the chat, but he says bad luck for you, Rick, but a great recovery. We saw you come all the way back to be on the very tail end of the lead lap and come home a solid third-place finish, Rick. Take us through what ended up being a really crazy fuel mileage race tonight.
Yeah, I obviously messed up. And first thing I did was doored Bud and put myself in the wall, and I was slow then after that and just losing ground. And so when I pitted, I had to take my fast repair, and we went down a lap, and then I don't know what happened, where next thing I know, I'm on the lead lap and there's a bunch of other people with me. So I don't know what happened. I didn't see it, and but I could have used another yellow at the end there to get some more gas, so I had to stop. I was one gallon short.
Yeah, we saw what ended up being a we saw you go down with that contact, and obviously we were kind of talking about it, but the damage model in iRacing seems kind of crazy that some what seemed like insignificant contact or hits turn into a lot of damage, and it looked like you had quite a bit there, at least from the pace that you had, even though Gael Brooks came back to try and save you there. But take us through that, and I'm assuming that caution there was probably one of the biggest things that probably helped out.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I was toast. I felt bad for Gael because I knew, once he got back there, we were still losing ground, and no one was going to save me other than a yellow, but I'd rather not be a yellows. But yeah, just ugly, ugly on my part. I like this track, and I usually don't miss that turn, and I missed it big time. I wasn't paying attention. Didn't see where I was, and all on me.
Definitely a great recovery, though, as we've already mentioned, and still well within contention for the playoffs. I think that was probably one of the greatest recoveries that we've seen, especially in a playoff race in recent history for you, Rick. So, what are you hoping to bring to next week's race to continue on in this battle for the championship?
Stay off the wall. That's be a big help. Yeah. Like I say, you got to be clean. You got to be top 5, and that's what I'm shooting for in each of these races. The top 5, and stay clean.
Well, glad you
hope
were
for the best.
Yeah, definitely. Glad you were able to at least make a solid recovery, and hope to see you continue to battle on, and hope to talk to you again soon, buddy. Before I let you go, before I let you go, obviously always got to roll out that red carpet for you guys and give you a chance for any thanks or shout-outs you'd like to give for that podium place tonight.
No, always shout out to Area 51. Putting on a great races. Shout out to Green White Checkered, putting on great broadcasts. Love watching those again, multiple times. Shout out to Whiplash Simcams, 4D Racewear, Cincy. I'll remember them this time. And shout out to the rest of the drivers. It's kind of a messy race. Wish we could all have been there together, 5 wide at the finish, but we'll get them next time.
Definitely. Well, a good opportunity.
Shout out to family too. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you there, but yeah, family too, always important. There's always in the chat rooting you on, and as is everyone else here in the booth, and hopefully get to talk to you again soon, Rick.
Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Alrighty. The question was, did they have enough fuel? And they finally answered that for us. It was an opportunity for the 28 and the 83 to pit later than anybody else. And I was pretty sure that more than you guys were going to be able to make it to the end on fuel. But it was just you and Nick Wing to make it to the distance. Jack, take us through, from your perspective, what looked like probably one of the most incredible fuel mileage races I think we've seen in a while here at Area 51.
Yeah, we lucked out with that caution coming out when it did, and that put it into a fuel mileage race, and we just hung behind some guys running up front and stayed together, and it worked out. We would have had just enough fuel. I had about a lap extra when it came down to it. And if Jim and Gael didn't get their speeding penalties on that pit stop, they would have been right with us.
Yeah, we noted that too, but obviously, thankfully, because they had to come down again, they didn't have to pit for fuel. That helped them leapfrog a few, except for really Rick Sanchez. So still a top 5 for those guys, although I'm sure you guys would have loved to try to battle it out for a full podium placing there with all those guys in the same strategy. But still a great opportunity for you guys, and I know we've said you're not necessarily battling for a championship here, but it's still a big deal to try and win these races, and we've seen you in good positions in the past, and finally able to capitalize on some really solid strategy for you tonight, Jack.
Yeah, but I was staying with Nick. He's in the playoffs, so I had to stay behind him. There wasn't going to be any of me passing him, so he could score some more points. So, yeah. So, and we did this, like a couple of weeks ago. We ran a fuel strategy race, and our team did pretty well on that.
Yeah, it definitely seems like you guys are able to capitalize on that pretty well. I know it was no surprise at all for us to obviously see you guys up there, but also see Jim and Gael up there saving as much fuel as they can because I know that's kind of the whole team mentality. But obviously I get a chance to race with Gael in some other leagues as well, and I mean that's all he does is fuel save from the start. So it was very funny to see you guys right back into that tried and true strategy that you guys typically try to employ.
Yeah, and you have to give a hand to all the drivers because I mean, we only had one caution, so that means we're all driving pretty clean. So that's very important.
Yeah, definitely a clean race. We saw the one yellow, which really was just a 25 kind of getting loose. It seemed like on his own, but other than that, I mean, not really any contact and a pretty solid race all the way through. So, yeah, definitely appreciate you highlighting that. And before we let you go, want to give you a chance to roll out that red carpet for you for any thanks or shout outs you'd like to give for that second place finish here tonight, Jack.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all our sponsors with Sensi, Whiplash Cameras, 4D Racewear, and of course the Green White Checker broadcast team. Thank you very much.
Well, we appreciate that, Jack, and congratulations to you, and hope to talk to you again soon, buddy.
Okay, take care. Have a good night.
Alrighty, and now his teammate in the number 28, finishing just one spot better at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the night. It is the 28 of Nick Wing, going to bring home the checkered flag. The Who Me on the side of the paint scheme. Got it done tonight. Nick, we talked to your teammate Jack about the fuel saving strategy a little bit. Really fuel saving strategy for your whole team, but take us through what it felt like from the vantage point behind the wheel there.
Well, I knew once that caution came out, there's a pretty big chance it's going to be a field strategy race right after that. And once I knew it was field, it was just save and save as much as I can. And I used everything I could.
Yeah, I mean that's a commitment from the second that you realize it too, and that takes, I mean, honestly, a lot of discipline. We saw, if I'm not mistaken, we commented on the broadcast, but I'm pretty sure you and Jack Walls never actually led a pack after you came out after the final pit stop. And I know Jack said you guys had about a lap to the good, which is great for fuel saving, but it seemed like you guys were absolutely maximizing those opportunities the second that you realized that you could potentially go to the distance on one less pit stop there.
Well, when I came out of pit road in front of people, I just immediately started getting up to speed and then pulled off to the side because there ain't no way I was going to lead. It was not going to happen. I'd rather go 85 miles an hour leading a pack than not.
Yeah, that's too funny. It's I know I've talked about a lot with Jack too, but that kind of seems to be your team kind of mentality and strategy. And Jack reminded me of a recent race where you guys were really doing quite a bit with fuel strategy to try to get up there and battle it out. But it seems like that's definitely something that you guys have. I don't know if it's practiced or what, but it seems like you guys have become pretty good at executing at least.
Well, it's not really practice. I got it down because I run Superspeedways enough. You should know pretty much that at a certain point, if it comes a certain way, you should be able to save at least some fuel.
Definitely. Well, you guys obviously did it the best, and were the only ones that were able to mitigate one extra pit stop for tonight. So congratulations on a very hard-earned strategy victory. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think is this your second or third win here at Area 51?
I think it's more than that. I think it's about 4, maybe.
Okay, my apologies. But yeah, definitely. I know. Man, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I was around for one of your first wins. But definitely always very special to win here in Area 51, and want to say congrats to you and roll out that red carpet for any thanks or shout outs for that victory here tonight.
I'd like to thank you guys. I'd like to thank all the sponsors, and most especially, it's all my teammates.
Definitely, those guys seem to help out quite a bit, and you guys had some race winning strategy. So congratulations again, Nick, and good luck as you battle on. I believe in the playoffs as well, and we'll try to hopefully talk to you again soon.
Yeah, you do, hopefully.
Alrighty. Thanks again, Nick, and congrats.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So we'll see here. Take a minute, and we'll just ramble for a second, see if we can get a chance to pull up the points, seeing if they are updated after tonight. And hopefully we can get a updated point count. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like we will be able to here. All right, so I'm gonna grab a quick screenshot and we'll bring that up for you for the point standings here. No formatting. We'll just save it here and straight from Sim Racer Hub, and then throw it in. We'll try to at least get it centered for you this time before we bring it up. And we will show it there. Didn't quite center it itself like I thought. That's okay. We're not professionals here. Center the screen. All right, so quick screenshot grab from the Sim Racer Hub. And you see, obviously, Dean Wilkinson still a really solid opportunity, so he's going to actually stay in first place. Rick Sanchez there is going to move up one spot, and he is going to be in second. And he is just 4 points, I should say, behind leader Dean Wilkinson. Nick Wing, though, he's going to be the big winner tonight. We saw him and his team with the fuel strategy and the savings to get that victory for him. That's going to be a big boost to him in the playoffs there, and definitely excited to see that for him. Jim Brooks is going to move up 4 spots as well with his opportunities tonight, and we'll try to, since we weren't entirely sure, we'll try and see if we can get a quick win total for Nick Wing here in Area 51.
That's his second career. I think it's his third, maybe.
Yeah,
I think it's his third.
I'm showing 2 here in the Superspeedway series, but there could be more series that he has had.
Yeah, he's gotten the win. I think about 2 seasons ago. I think in the trucks.
Yeah. So in Area 51, I'm showing at least 2 for the Superspeedway. But I know obviously he mentioned that they were up to 4 in his memory, so it could have been before or a different leading they're not finding in Sim Racer Hub. So so maybe tried to confirm it, but maybe made it a little bit muddier. But anyway, regardless, obviously excited to see Nick Wing back on top here. Jim Brooks with a very solid run in the point standings now. Eric Laurie does drop 3 spots, but he's still very well in contention there at 1,057 points. Tied with Ambrose Kniebel at the moment. Tom Dixon just 2 points further back in 7th place. Bob Fitzgerald there with 1,053. Unfortunately for Patrick Groover, a little bit of a tough night. He is going to fall 5 spots and have 1,052 points to his name. Jeremy Osborne will stay steady in 10th place. And Seth Groover, also not the night he was hoping for, will fall back 2 spots. Then obviously Brandon Briggs unable to make last week's race, but chimed in the chat, so we appreciate still keeping in touch even on the off week for him. But Brandon Briggs gets 29 points tonight, and he will be 12th in the playoff standings. So definitely it's still a pretty tight race. I mean, we've seen, you can see just about anything that can still happen here in this league, so have to, I know I always say it, but have to wait and see. It's pretty much anyone's game right now. Dean Wilkinson has a really solid opportunity with some pretty solid 2 top 6 finishes so far. Obviously, Rick Sanchez has been right behind him as well there with the podium tonight, and then Nick Wing, the big mover there, you saw up 8 spots. So for him, a very solid night in the second round of the playoffs. And we've got 2 more races to go next week on the schedule. Will be Atlanta Motor Speedway, and then followed by Daytona and that will conclude the second season of 2024 here at Area 51 on the Thursday night series. Next week will be the last race of the season for the Area 51 Dark Horse Racing season on Tuesday nights. They will be at Auto Club to close out the season after last week's race at Kentucky. And then on Sunday as well, they will continue to roll on through. Obviously, they've got iRacing Superspeedway Atlanta and Daytona as they get ready to wrap up their season and crown a championship over there. So again, always be sure to tune in to every series that we have here on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sunday nights. We'll take a little bit of a break after the second or season 2 here in 2024, and come back with another 12 race schedule for you guys on various nights here at Area 51 and Green White Checker TV to continue to bring you all this incredible league racing action here on iRacing. So, Matt, I will give the floor back to you and give us any any closing thoughts that you have from this fuel mileage chaos tonight.
I've seen a lot of mistakes on pit road here today. A lot of mistakes were made. Hopefully, you guys will learn from it. Like I said, this track is pretty fun to race, really fun to race. But then again, I hate fuel mileage races. It kind of kills the racing. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. The caution came out, at a bad time. But these guys knew their fuel numbers. The pace dropped quite a bit for some drivers, but in the end, it pretty much came down to 2 drivers who, saved enough fuel to make it to the end. But for the guys up in the points, the guys who further down, don't keep your head down. There's always a chance to win. Always anything that can happen. The guys who run up top, stay consistent. Keep doing what you're doing. Great recovery tonight, as you said, by Rick Sanchez. Went from bad to good. Finished up with a P3, and I know the 55 Dean Wilkinson. He's been knocking on the door. He's been quiet, pretty much the whole race, but he still remains our points leader.
Yeah, absolutely. For Dean, it's come down to, really great execution. We've seen it hasn't been a spectacular, stats-wise season for him. Only 3 top 5s and 1 win in 10 starts, and that includes the race last week. But he's got 7 top 10s in that same span. Rick Sanchez, in a similar category, he does have 8 top 5s, but he's got 9 top 10s. Nicholas Wing now with 7 top 10s, and then Eric Laurie with 8 top 10s. And all those guys are in the top 5 in the point standings right now. So that really is the big difference maker. And then obviously, those are the things that'll get you into the playoffs, and then it's the continuation of that execution to continue to post those top 5s and those top 10s. And obviously for Dean, not a top 5 tonight, but really close with that 6th place position. And then Rick Sanchez with another podium. So these guys are, there's a reason that they're at their top, and I can't wait to see how this points battle shakes out. There are 5 drivers. The top 6 actually are within 14 points of our leader. 16 points back is 7th place, 18 to 8th, 19 to 9th, and realistically, those point differentials can absolutely be made up in 1 week. So still lots of opportunities. You're going to have to tune in the next coming weeks to see that finish to our second season of 2024. Again, that we said, and it's going to be a good battle all the way to the end with what is shaping up to be a really close points battle and race. So I think that's enough rambling for us. Appreciate everyone hopping in the chat, hanging out with us, commenting, adding your commentary as we give ours as well, and appreciate all the drivers in the league. I know a lot of these guys will rewatch these, so thank you all to your contributions to the league. Obviously, without the league and without our racers, we would not have a job here, Matt. So we appreciate that and wish them all the best in the last couple races of the season, and then we'll take a little bit of a break. So again, thanks to everyone. For myself, Boomer Logan, and my counterpart, Matt Wagner, we're going to sign off and say take care, have a great week, and see you soon.